All right, let's take a trip back in time.
Back in time.
1982.
Okay.
For Choplifter.
Ah, classic.
The true arcade classic.
Yeah.
Maybe you remember it, maybe you don't.
Maybe.
But either way, get ready for some retro gaming goodness here.
All right.
We've got a bunch of sources here.
Okay.
A Game FAQs guide,
Mm-hmm.
Wikipedia,
Of course.
a Giant Bomb overview,
Love Giant Bomb.
and even the original Commodore 64 manual.
Wow. Taking it old school.
Oh yeah, we're going deep.
I like it.
So Choplifter, you're a helicopter pilot on a rescue mission facing off against the Bungling Empire.
The Bungling Empire.
Okay, maybe not the most intimidating name.
Yeah, what is a bungling?
I don't know, but they've got tanks, jets, these creepy floating mines.
Oh, those mines, man.
Those mines, they're trouble.
Especially those drone air mines.
Yeah.
They're the only enemy that actually follows you back to your base.
Oh, it's not good.
So you know it adds this extra layer of like, oh no.
Yeah, like every time you go back to base, you're like,
Is it gonna be there?
yeah.
Is this one gonna get me?
So it's not just about like, blasting your way through. There's this constant tension between firepower and, not accidentally.
Not blowing up the people you're trying to save.
Exactly.
Not
And it's like,
delicate balance.
it's a delicate balance.
You know what's fascinating about that, though?
Yeah.
That whole hostage rescue mechanic was pretty innovative for its time.
Really?
Yeah, think about it. You're not just racking up points. You're actually saving lives.
It's like a precursor to all those escort missions.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in Choplifter, the stakes are way higher.
Sure, absolutely. One wrong move and splat, they're gone.
And it adds this emotional layer
To the gameplay.
to the gameplay.
You're not just concerned about your own survival.
Right.
You're responsible for these vulnerable little pixelated people.
Oh, the little pixelated people.
Yeah.
And the controls really feed into that.
Yeah.
You can switch between forward-facing view for taking out tanks and then a side view for,
Fighting.
for dogfighting.
Yeah.
It's not just about shooting everything.
Right.
You have to make strategic choices to keep those hostages safe.
It's like you're saying a precursor to those escort missions.
Yeah.
You know what's really funny is that dual perspective control scheme
Okay.
actually has roots in another earlier arcade classic.
Oh, really?
Offender?
Defender. Oh, yeah?
Remember that one?
Protecting those little dudes?
Yes, protecting those little dudes running back and forth.
Wait, are you saying there's a connection between Defender and Choplifter?
Absolutely.
Really?
Dan Gorlin,
Okay.
Choplifter's creator,
Okay.
he's said that Defender was a direct inspiration.
Wow.
Both games have this core concept of protecting vulnerable beings.
Right.
They're on the ground.
Yeah.
Right. They're vulnerable.
And they both use that unique control system.
Yeah, where you have to think strategically about
Positioning.
Yeah, your positioning and movement.
That's wild.
It is.
Because, on the surface, they seem so different.
Totally.
Defender's fast-paced and frantic, and Choplifter feels,
More deliberate.
more methodical.
But at their core, they both tap into this,
The instinct
this primal instinct to protect.
to protect, to save the innocent.
And that's something that really resonates with players, no matter what the era or the genre.
So we've got this mix of action, strategy, even a bit of emotional engagement.
It's a lot going on.
No wonder Choplifter became such a hit.
Yeah, no wonder.
And speaking of hits, did you know the game was originally developed in just 6 months?
Yeah, that's true.
6 months.
It's insane.
Gorlin's a coding wizard.
He is.
What's even more surprising is that he initially envisioned Choplifter as a 3D game.
Yeah, that's right.
3D back in '82.
I know. That's crazy.
I mean, I guess the technology just wasn't there yet. He
Yeah.
had to scale back his ambitions.
Yeah.
Work within the limitations of the time.
Right.
And even then.
Yeah. He had to make some design choices
Okay.
to make it more fun
Right.
and arcade-like.
Okay.
He actually had to tone down the realism.
Too realistic for an arcade game.
Yeah, apparently.
What does that even mean?
Well,
Were the hostages complaining about legroom in the helicopter?
maybe. No, the early versions were apparently a bit too slow.
So.
And methodical.
Okay.
Almost like a simulation, so he had to inject a little more arcade-style action into it.
Got it. So that sweet spot between
Yeah, realism and fun.
realism and fun.
Yeah.
Speaking of fun, let's talk about the levels.
Okay.
Choplifter throws you into 4 distinct environments,
Sure.
each with their own unique set of challenges.
I love that.
Let's start with
The classic desert landscape of level 1.
one desert. All right.
It's like the perfect introduction to the mechanics, right?
Yeah.
You got those iconic domed prisons.
Yeah.
Good mix of basic enemy types.
Right.
The turrets. Those little manned stations. Right.
And, of course, the tanks.
The tanks.
Yeah.
A great way to get your bearings
Things get real.
before things get real.
Yeah.
And then, bam, level 2, the high seas.
We're going to the ocean.
We're going to the ocean.
We got battleships, submarines, even some underwater sections.
Yeah.
That's where the level design really starts to shine.
Oh, yeah.
You got to think about how you approach each target.
Absolutely.
Especially those massive battleships with their multi-gun turrets.
I know, and then navigating those underwater sections adds like a whole other
layer
of complexity
to
the whole thing.
Definitely a step up in difficulty from the desert.
For sure.
And then level 3, things take a turn.
Yeah.
For the atmospheric, we're talking caves,
Caves.
stalactites, erupting volcanoes.
So look almost claustrophobic.
Almost claustrophobic.
Yeah.
Level 3, a real test of your maneuvering skills.
Yeah.
You got to weave through those tight spaces.
You do.
Dodge environmental hazards and
Maybe those hostages.
still get those hostages.
Yeah.
You thought the tanks were tough in the deserts.
No.
Now they're rolling around in caves.
It's like, oh, come on.
At least you don't have to worry about those jet fighters, right?
No, maybe not jet fighters, but level 4
Level 4, what do we got?
takes you to a futuristic city.
Futuristic city, okay.
Complete with skyscrapers, rooftop guns,
Okay.
even these bizarre hovercrafts.
Hovercraft.
That drop bombs.
Oh, no.
It's like a whole new
set of baddies.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And the tanks get a serious AI upgrade in level 4.
Oh, yeah.
They're faster,
Faster.
more aggressive,
You're meaner.
and they seem to have a sixth sense for when you're trying to
Grab those hostages.
grab those hostages.
Yeah, it's like they know.
Like they know.
Yeah.
It's like the bungling empire saved their best
Yeah.
and most frustrating.
The most frustrating. Yeah.
For last,
Tips for last.
you got to use everything you've learned to survive this one.
Oh, yeah. This is the final test.
Okay, so 4 incredibly diverse levels,
I love it.
each with its own challenges and surprises.
Yeah.
But what really stands out to you about the level design in Choplifter?
Well, I think what's brilliant is how the level design not only increases the difficulty, right?
Right.
But it also forces you to adapt your strategies.
Yeah.
You can't just rely on brute force.
Yeah.
You have to think about your approach,
Yeah.
your positioning, even the timing of your rescue runs.
It's not just about visual variety.
Right.
It's about how each environment
Yeah.
introduces these new gameplay elements
Yeah.
and forces you to change the way you play.
Exactly. It keeps it fresh.
Keeps it fresh.
Keeps it challenging.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah, we have.
In part 1,
Part 1.
we talked about those unique mechanics,
Uh-huh.
the connection to Defender,
Totally.
the game's development history,
Yeah.
and even took a quick tour of those levels.
It was a good tour.
But we barely scratched the surface.
We've got so much more.
Yeah, there's so much more to uncover.
So much more.
We still need to delve into the bungling empire,
What are they all about?
explore those different versions of the game,
So many versions.
and really unpack what makes Choplifter
A timeless classic.
a timeless classic.
Yeah.
Stick around, folks.
Part 2 is coming up.
Part 2, we're going even deeper into the world of Choplifter. Welcome back to our deep dive into Choplifter.
Part 2.
Last time, we really started digging into this game.
Yeah, the mechanics.
The mechanics.
That surprising connection to Defender, and
Yeah,
of course those 4 iconic levels.
We took a whirlwind tour
It was a whirlwind.
of those levels.
It was.
We talked about how the game managed to balance action
Right.
with this almost puzzle-like element of
Yeah, you gotta rescue the hostages carefully.
rescuing the hostages.
Yeah, think about your moves.
It's not just about blasting through everything.
No, it's finesse.
It's finesse, yeah,
Got it.
timing, making those split-second decisions.
Yeah, that can mean life or death
Life or death.
for those little pixelated people.
Pixelated death.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the fuel management aspect.
Oh, the fuel.
You've got a limited supply,
Yep.
and every trip back to base eats away at it.
You gotta be careful.
You got to be
You
careful.
gotta plan those trips.
Adds another layer of strategy.
It does.
Oh, man. I can't tell you how many times I ran out of fuel, like just
Oh, so close.
a hair's breadth from that landing
Well,
pad.
now it's happened to me too.
Chopper full of rescued hostages.
You're like, come on, just a little bit further.
I know.
Yeah.
Talk about heartbreaking.
I know. It's like you're right there.
But, you know, for a game that's all about saving lives,
Yeah.
Choplifter can be pretty brutal sometimes.
It does not shy away
It does.
from the harsh realities of conflict,
It doesn't.
even if it's just in that pixelated form. I mean, if you get shot down with hostages on board,
Yeah.
they all perish.
It's brutal.
It is.
Adds this incredible sense of urgency and pressure.
Every rescue run, it matters.
Every single one.
Yeah.
Every life really depends on your skill as a pilot.
You're the one who makes the difference.
But, you know, even with that sense of danger, it still manages to maintain this almost optimistic tone.
It does. There's hope.
Yeah, it's a game about hope.
About courage.
About facing down
and
adversity.
doing what's right.
Doing what's right.
Yeah.
It's interesting, though, like how little we actually know about those bad guys.
Oh, the bungling.
The bundling empire.
Yeah.
Like, what's their motivation?
Right. Like, why are they holding these people hostage? We don't really know.
No.
And that's actually one of the things that I think
Okay.
makes Choplifter so fascinating.
Okay.
You know, the game doesn't spoon feed you a story.
No.
Doesn't give you a clear-cut good versus evil narrative.
Yeah, so many games do that.
So many games do.
But not Choplifter.
No, it leaves a lot open to interpretation.
So it's up to the player to fill in the blanks.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool, actually.
It is, because it allows for a more personal and engaging experience.
Right. You're not just passively absorbing a story.
No, you're making it your own.
Yeah, exactly.
You're projecting your own ideas.
Onto the conflict.
Yeah.
Your own understanding of why this is happening.
It's much more subtle and nuanced than a lot of games were taking back then.
Yeah, a lot of games were just like, these are the bad guys, go shoot them.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what else is interesting?
What's that?
The name. The Bungling Empire itself.
The Bungling Empire.
It's almost comical.
It is. It's funny.
Like something out of a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah, it's not very intimidating.
It's not.
For a world-dominating force.
It's not.
No, it's almost like they're trying to, like, disarm you with the name.
Yeah, like, oh, don't worry about us.
Yeah, we're the Bungling Empire.
We're just the Bunglings.
But then you see their tanks and their jets and their creepy floating mines.
And you're like, oh, no.
And you're like, okay, maybe I should be a little worried.
They mean business.
Yeah,
this weird juxtaposition between...
Yeah, lightheartedness.
Yeah, lightheartedness.
And, like, serious action.
Serious action.
Yeah.
And speaking of lightheartedness...
What about it?
Those hostages, they're adorable.
They are.
The way they run around frantically.
Yeah.
When you free them.
They're so happy.
And then they climb aboard your chopper.
With such relief.
With such relief.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like a real hero.
It's a good feeling.
It is.
It is classic gaming gold.
It is.
That moment right there.
But, you know, despite those lighthearted touches,
yeah,
Choplifters also had this real impact on the gaming world.
It did.
I mean, this was one of the first games to really successfully transition. From home computers to the arcade.
Yeah, it went from the computer to the arcade.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a groundbreaking move.
Because most games, they either started in the arcade.
Right, they were arcade first.
Or on home computers.
Yeah.
But they rarely
made that
jump. Back and forth. So what made Choplifter different?
I think, for one thing, the gameplay.
Yeah.
It's simple, but it's compelling. And it really translated well to both platforms.
So it was easy to pick up and play.
Yeah, you could learn it quickly.
But it had enough depth.
Yeah.
To keep you coming back.
For more, for sure.
And the theme itself.
Yeah.
Rescuing hostages. It had a certain universality to it.
It did. It tapped into that desire to protect the innocent.
Protect the innocent.
It didn't matter your background, your culture.
Yeah.
It resonated with everybody.
It's fascinating to think about how, like, the real-world events at the time might have influenced its reception.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm thinking like the Iran hostage crisis. You think there's a connection there?
Well, Dan Gorlin has said that, you know, while the game wasn't intentionally based on that event, the timing of its release definitely played a role.
In its popularity.
Yeah, it was on everyone's minds.
It shows how games can tap into...
that collective consciousness.
Yeah, the collective consciousness.
Of a society, even if it's unintentional.
Even if it's unintentional.
Yeah, it's reflecting what we're all thinking about.
It's amazing how a game with such simple graphics.
Yeah, simple gameplay.
And gameplay.
Can still hold so much depth.
Can still hold so much depth.
And meaning.
And meaning, yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
Speaking of different versions.
Oh, yeah.
Choplifter was ported to pretty much...
every system under the sun.
Every system under the sun. You're not kidding.
I mean, from the Apple II to the arcade to the Atari. ColecoVision, Commodore 64.
Commodore, wow.
Even the NES and Master System.
Seemed like every platform had its own take.
They did, yeah.
Each version had its own...
quirks and differences.
Quirks and differences.
For sure.
From the graphics and the sound to the gameplay mechanics.
And level design.
And level design.
It was different everywhere.
Take the Sega Arcade remake, for example.
Oh, the arcade remake.
They added a fuel gauge.
Oh, the fuel gauge. That changed things.
Which changed things.
It completely changed how you approach the game.
How you had to approach the game.
Yeah, and they introduced new environments.
New environments.
Even a scoring system.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a big change.
Big changes.
Yeah.
Let's not forget those intense jet fighter battles.
Oh, the jet fighters?
In the arcade version.
Those were hard.
Brutal.
They were?
And those later console ports on the NES and Master System.
Yeah, they kept a lot of those additions.
They did.
Yeah, they built on what the arcade did.
Each port brought its own unique flavor.
It's true.
I always loved the music in the Master System version.
Oh, yeah, the Master System music.
Catchy.
It was great.
But no matter what version you played,
yeah,
the heart of Choplifter remained the same.
It did.
Rescuing hostages.
Dodging bullets. Outsmarting the bungling empire.
It's a testament to this game's enduring appeal.
Absolutely.
That it was able to adapt.
And thrive.
And thrive across so many different platforms.
I know, it's amazing.
Each with its own technical limitations and possibilities.
Yeah, they all did it a little differently.
It's almost like each version is like a snapshot.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Of gaming technology.
Yeah. At that moment in time.
You can see how the game evolved alongside the hardware.
It's true. It really pushed the boundary.
Pushing the boundaries.
Of what was possible.
Of what was possible.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating case study.
It is. It's fascinating.
In the evolution of game design.
For sure.
But, beyond those technical aspects.
Yeah.
What's remarkable is
how Choplifter managed to maintain its core identity.
Yeah.
Across all those versions.
That balance of action, strategy, and emotional engagement.
It's all there.
That we talked about.
Yeah, no matter what version you're playing.
It's a reminder.
That great game design is about more than just
graphics or technology.
Yeah.
It's about creating an experience
that connects
with players on a deeper level.
On a deeper level.
Yeah.
So we've explored the mechanics, the historical context.
Oh, we've gone deep.
We've gone deep.
The bungling empire.
The surprising connection to Defender, its various versions.
Yeah.
Even the enigmatic bundling empire.
We still don't know a lot about them.
We don't, do we?
But there's one more crucial element we need to address.
Okay, what's that?
The legacy.
The legacy of Choplifter.
What impact did this game have on the gaming world?
That's a great question.
And we'll delve into that in Part 3.
Part 3, get ready, folks.
For some fascinating insights into how Choplifter influenced future games and continues to inspire developers even today. Stick around. Welcome back, Deep Divers. We've spent the last 2 parts really dissecting Choplifter.
We have.
The gameplay, the history.
The bungling empire.
Even the curiously named bungling empire.
Yeah, there's still a mystery.
But now, for the grand finale, let's zoom out.
Okay.
Consider this. What's Choplifter's lasting impact?
Oh, it's big.
Did it just fade into obscurity, or did it leave a mark?
It left a mark.
On the gaming world.
Big time. Choplifter wasn't just a fun game. It was influential.
Influential, okay.
Think about it.
All right, I'm thinking.
That concept of rescuing people in a helicopter under enemy fire, managing resources, those frantic landings,
right? Yeah,
that's a formula we've seen
time and again.
Time and time again.
So you're saying Choplifter was kind of a trendsetter?
I am.
Like the granddaddy of all those later games involving helicopter rescues and strategic resource management.
That's right.
You could see echoes of Choplifter. So many games that fall.
Absolutely.
You mentioned Defender.
Obviously.
Big inspiration.
Air Rescue.
Okay.
Even some elements, I think, in modern titles, like the Strike series.
Wow. So Dan Gorlin.
Yeah.
Created this blueprint.
He did.
For a whole new genre of games.
I think so. It's amazing.
It's interesting to think about how those later games built upon that foundation.
They did.
And added their own twists.
Yeah, they took that and they ran with it.
It wasn't just the core mechanics, though.
Right.
It was the tone, the theme.
Choplifter had this sense of heroism,
Yeah.
urgency.
Right.
Really resonated with players.
Yeah, you weren't just racking up points.
No, you were saving lives.
You were saving lives.
It gave the game a real sense of purpose.
Yeah, it wasn't just mindless entertainment.
No, there was something more to it.
Something more.
And that's, I think, what makes it really remarkable.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a technical achievement.
It was a game that tapped into
something deeper.
Something more human.
More human. And that's something
Yeah.
that continues to inspire game developers.
Even today.
Even today.
Gorlin was ahead of his time.
I think so, in a lot of ways.
He created a game that was fun to play, but also had this emotional depth.
Yeah, the feeling.
Thematic richness.
You don't see that a lot back then.
Not back then, no.
It's pretty special.
And it's a testament to
the power of simple, elegant design.
Elegant design.
Choplifter didn't need a complex narrative.
Right.
Didn't need cutting-edge graphics.
To make an impact?
It was about the gameplay.
Yeah.
Creating that compelling loop.
Yeah.
And letting the player fill in the rest.
Letting the player fill in the rest.
With their imagination.
With their imagination. Wow. Which brings us back to something we touched on earlier.
Okay.
The role of the player.
Yeah.
Choplifter doesn't force a story on you.
No.
It invites you to create your own
narrative.
Your own interpretation of the conflict.
Yeah, you're writing the story.
You're not just a passive observer.
No, you're an active participant.
Active participant.
You're shaping the meaning of the game.
And that's something that's become increasingly important.
I think so.
In modern game design.
Absolutely.
It's like the best games are the ones that give you the framework.
Give you the tools.
And then they trust you.
They trust you.
To create your own experience.
To use them to create your own unique experience.
That's when games get really interesting.
That's what makes Choplifter so timeless.
It really is.
It's a game that can be enjoyed on multiple levels.
So many levels.
From that pure arcade thrill.
Dodging bullets, yeah.
Dodging bullets, rescuing hostages.
To the deeper thematic exploration of conflict, heroism.
The human cost of war?
Yeah, it's all there.
Wow, I never thought about it that way.
It's pretty deep.
It's like we've gone from analyzing an arcade classic to discussing like the nature of game design.
Big questions.
The role of the player.
It's a journey.
It's a journey, yeah.
It's what we do.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Choplifter, what's the final takeaway for our listeners?
What makes this game truly classic?
What makes it classic?
I think it comes down to a few key factors.
Okay.
Innovative gameplay.
Okay.
That influenced countless others.
It did.
Timeless theme that still resonates today.
Yeah.
And that ability to engage players on both an emotional and intellectual level.
Don't forget the fun factor.
Oh, of course.
Choplifter is a joy to play.
It is. It's pure fun.
Even after all these years.
Even after all these years.
That pick-up-and-play simplicity.
Yeah, anybody can play it.
The adrenaline-pumping action.
Oh, yeah.
And that heartwarming sense of heroism.
You feel good playing it.
It's impossible not to love.
Yeah, it is.
It's a game that deserves to be remembered.
Absolutely.
And celebrated.
For sure.
Not just for its historical significance.
Wow.
But for its enduring power to entertain.
Yeah.
To challenge, to inspire.
So whether you're a seasoned retro gamer or you're just discovering Choplifter for the first time.
Yeah, welcome.
I think we can all agree.
This game
is a classic for a reason.
It is.
And who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe our deep dive will inspire you.
To dust off that old joystick.
Yeah. Fire up an emulator.
That emulator going.
And experience the magic.
The magic of Choplifter.
Of Choplifter for yourself.
Happy gaming, everyone.
Happy gaming.